We're now joined by Coach Kliff Kingsbury from Texas Tech. Coach, welcome, and he says he's going to go straight to questions without an opening statement. So, questions for the coach. Caught him off guard, Coach. We got a question on the far left side on the aisle. Be sure and state your name and your affiliation.
Ryan Aber from the Oklahoman. Coach, I was wondering, looking back on it a little over a year later, do you have any regrets about the way the Baker Mayfield situation played out?
I haven't really thought back on it too much. You know, I wish him the best of luck. It sounds like he's doing a great job there, which I knew he would, and hopefully he plays really good in every game except one.
We got a question in the middle here. Just a second.
Kliff, Tim Griffin with the San Antonio Express News. I wonder if you could talk about what David Beatty has brought your defense, what you've seen over the months he's worked with the unit.
Yeah, David Gibbs has been phenomenal. We knew that he had the track record, had the credibility coming in, brought a different level of professionalism, accountability, discipline that we needed on that side of the ball. And so couldn't be more pleased with what I've seen thus far. Have a young defense still, but it's an excited group. He's related to the players very quickly. So I'm excited to watch that group continue to grow this fall.
We got a question on the left side. Put your hand up over there. Thank you. On the left side. Your left, Coach. There you go.
Yeah. John Warner, Waco Tribune Herald. Another question on Coach Gibbs. Have you changed the formation any, or is it a lot of it just the player's attitude, or is the position changes? What have you seen over there?
A little bit of everything. I think schematically he'll do some different things. The way he handles players. We've had some shuffling of which coaches are coaching which positions, so it pretty much an entire overhaul. And so far through spring, I thought they responded well. The players responded well, and so like I said, I think continuing to watch that grow through fall camp and into the season will be fun for me.
We got a question on the right side. There we go. Hand, Coach, this side.
Coach Kingsbury, Cameron Brock with Heartland College Sports. Obviously, a few defensive coordinator changes in the past 6 seasons. What have you been able to tell defensive recruits about the consistent changing of coordinators, and how do you sell them on coming to Texas Tech with that? Yeah,
I think some of it's blind faith, obviously. With Coach Gibbs, he brings his NFL resume. He brings what he did at the University of Houston, which was phenomenal in 2 years there. And so guys want to be around that. They want to play for a coach that has those type of credentials. So that's been huge. He's done a great job of recruiting since he's been at Texas Tech, and really excited about that class he's bringing in. And so I think more than anything, his resume speaks for itself when you're selling recruits.
We got two questions on the aisle on the left side. Put your hand up over there. There you go. One of you.
Chuck Carlton, Dallas Morning News. Kliff, obviously the quarterback situation is something you're getting an awful lot of questions about, but what will eventually separate Davis and Patrick in your mind? What are you looking for from your start going into next year?
I think more than anything, it's eliminating negative plays. We've been historically bad the last 2 years at that position with turnovers. I think the last 2 years we've had 20 plus just at our position at quarterback. And so whichever guy can protect the football the best and continue to take shots, take chances, but protect the ball is going to be our guy.
Got another question on the left-hand side.
Hey, Kliff. Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. I believe your last year as a player at Tech was the first year that a kid named Lincoln Riley came from Muleshoe. I think might have been in the room with you now. He's obviously coordinating at Oklahoma. What do you remember of those days with him and sort of his ascent to this point in his career?
Very sharp. I've known Lincoln for a long time, and he's worked very hard to get where he's at. Did a tremendous job at East Carolina building that offense and that program with Coach McNeil. And so, I'm happy for him. I think Coach Stu's got a great coach and another great offensive mind in the league.
Question right in front of you on the right-hand side, and then we'll move to the left.
Coach Ben Kirchhoff from Bleacher Report. I was wondering, you mentioned the negative plays just a couple of questions ago. Is that, first of all, how has the progress been this offseason on eliminating those? And secondly, is that the type of thing that you think will be able to turn around from 4-8 a year ago?
I hope so. I think when you look at our turnover margin last year, it was very close to the bottom of the entire country. And so if you're doing that, you're not going to win many games, especially in the Big 12 with these offenses. So that's what we've harped upon. And we saw great progress in the spring, but we have to go out there during games and do it.
Question right in front of you on the.
Hey, Kliff, Suzanne Halliburton with Austin American Statesman, piggybacking on the quarterback. When you're talking about eliminating negative plays, are you going to literally have to go into the season with Mahomes and Webb to test how well they do with protecting the ball?
I'm not planning on it right now. I'm planning on naming a starter fairly early in camp and trying to develop that chemistry with the first team and second teams. So no, we will try to get that handled. Now, if somebody falters early on, we do feel like we have two guys that can win games, and so that is a luxury we haven't had.
All the way in the back, right straight in front of you, Coach.
Hi, Coach. Ben Dodson with RCFB. Have red zone situations been a focus this offseason?
Yeah, we got to get to the red zone more, I think, first off. We've always been able to get yards since I've been at Texas Tech. I think we've been in top 10 the first 2 years as far as yards per game, but the turnovers have killed us, and not being efficient down there in the red zone have hurt us as well. So that's definitely been an area we've been trying to improve upon.
We got a question on the left side on the aisle. Jenny, keep your hand up, please.
Hey, Kliff, quarterbacks in the air raid come in all shapes and sizes, but over the years, as you've played in this system and coached this system, is there a characteristic or two you feel like is consistent with those guys?
I think recently it's the ability to extend a play. I know at Houston, coaching Case Keenum, he was great at extending a play when it wasn't there. Obviously, Johnny at A&M. You look at what Trayvon Boykin does at TCU in a very similar system, moving around, making plays. But people have had success. Graham Harrell was more of a pocket guy, Brandon Whedon. So I think the trend now is going to more of guys that can extend the play. But if you're a smart guy, you can get it on time, you can get through your reads quickly, you have a chance to have success in that system.
Question on the aisle on that same side.
Coach Damon Sells, Bleacher Report. In an offense like yours, you obviously need a good quarterback. You're going to need some offensive linemen to make things happen in the trenches. But let's talk about the wide receivers. Where are your wide receivers stacking up, and what are your expectations for them?
I felt like for most of the year last year, it was a group that was feeling their way around, weren't very confident in their abilities or that they can compete in that league. And I think the last 3 games, we saw some guys that the light bulb finally turned on, and that was exciting to see. So moving forward, we had a great spring at that position. We have some young guys coming in that we think will push those older guys, but Dylan Cantrell, Devin Lauderdale, Jakeem Grant, Reggie Davis, Ian Sadler, all those guys late in the year made a bunch of plays for us, where at the beginning of last year seemed to be timid and played timid. And so if we can continue that progress, I think it'll bode well for obviously what we're trying to do offensively.
Still on the left side, we got a question.
Myron Patton, Fox 25, Oklahoma City. Staying with the receivers, what do you see for Cameron Batson? He played a little bit for you last year. How's he doing?
He's doing well. Last year, the majority of the time, he was a punt returner, did a great job fielding punts. 4.0 student, obviously a smart guy, played quarterback in high school, and we kind of have him at that inside H position, getting some time with Jakeem Grant there, and has really taken pride in developing as a wide receiver, coming in as a quarterback.
On the aisle, still in that same aisle towards the front.
Coach, Cedric Golden, Austin American Statesman. I know it's been historically a quarterback receiver offense. DeAndre Washington had a good year. What are you going to be able to do to let him take a step forward as a leader in your offense?
Yeah, we'll continue to find ways to get him the ball. We have 4 offensive linemen coming back from that group that helped him gain 1,000. And in a down year, he was definitely a bright spot on and off the field. Did a great job leading. Never gave up. Had some dire situations where he continued to run the ball tough when we were out of games, and so couldn't be more impressed with him, his development on and off the field, and I expect another great year from DeAndre.
Further questions for Coach? We got a question all the way in the back on the platform on the right-hand side. Just a second.
Garrett Sanders with KTK News out of Tyler. Coach, talk about the chemistry you've seen between Cantrell and Mahomes, since they were so good at White House, what you're seeing there in Lubbock now.
Yeah, Pat looks for him when he's on the field, that's for sure. They had a bunch of connections in high school, and anytime we get in live situations and they're both out there, there's a good chance that ball's going his way. So it's been fun to watch their development, and they do such a great job at White House training those players. And so both guys came in very ready to compete in our offense.
We got a question on the left-hand side. Put your hand up so we can get the microphone to you. There we go. Thank you.
Coach, Zach Tanner with RaiderPower.com. Looking at the roster, the depth chart, it's littered with out-of-state players. To what do you attribute your success in recruiting those players to come all the way out to play at Texas Tech?
I think more than anything, some relationships our staff had. Last year, I think we signed 20 players and 19 were from the state of Texas. So the first couple of years scrambling to put classes together, we were out of state a little bit, but the trend now for our program is to be more in-state with players.
Anything further for Coach? Okay, well, we got one more question on the left-hand side. Sorry.
Barry Trammell with the Oklahoman. Kliff, you go to Fayetteville in September. How big is that game from a confidence standpoint? And you guys got beaten in Lubbock by the Razorbacks last year. What could a victory in Fayetteville do for your program and for this particular team?
It'd be a huge boost. That's a great football team, and we found that out last year. I don't think our team mentally was ready for the type of physical team they came in there and got after us. And so hopefully this year, with a lot of those guys coming back, we'll know what to expect of that team, of that how physical they are, and the quality of team they are. So that's going to be a great atmosphere. It'll be a great game for us, and I know our players are looking forward to it.
Any last question? We got a question on the left-hand side.
Don Williams from the Lubbock Avalanche Journal. Kliff, considering the fact that Patrick Mahomes and Davis Webb both have had success in their careers, if one of them struggles for, say, 2-3 series, would you be more inclined to go to your backup this year than you might normally do otherwise?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it'll be a feel situation because if we name a starter, we're going to ride with that guy, knowing that we have a great insurance policy behind him. But I wouldn't expect a quick hook on whoever we name the starter.
This will be the final question for Coach in the middle.
Tim Griffin again. Mike Mitchell is coming from Ohio State. He's a transfer into your program. What have you seen in him as a layoff cause any changes in him, and what potentially could he mean for your defense?
He's one of the most physically impressive young men I've ever seen as far as speed and size and strength. And I think the year out, he's just got to get back to playing the game, playing that many plays and that many reps. And he definitely brings a different type of physicality. And so once he gets our system down and gets back in game shape, I think we'll get something out of him.